Tremendous, lethal, volatile, earth-shattering sports talk will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go. This is the Doug Stewart Show coming to you live. Real live on this Football Friday. Thank you for joining your folk. And Jack Frost is kicking much ass this morning. Wow, Jack Frost is killing them. Ooh, he like little Terrio out in this bitch. You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. Once again, that's 404-382-0338. You can also email your boy at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. We on Twitter at The Doug Stewart Show. Speaking of Twitter, I just sent out your daily fortune. Yes. So if you want to get some of this stew magic, go to my Twitter account at The Doug Stewart Show and retweet it. Yes, your daily fortune, your daily numbers. I'm just passing along the love. That's all I'm doing is passing along the love. All right. Yeah, this is a Football Friday. And, yeah, I mean, today I really do mean it. I mean, I think I said it yesterday. Maybe I said it the day before. But today, we got a lot to get into. Thank you for joining your boy, man. The show is what we call on fire. All I ask is that you tell one person about the livest, the most interactive, the most fun show on radio and online, the Doug Stewart Show. Yes. Tell one person. That's all. We're doing huge things around here, man. I mean, crazy huge things. In the completion, I think this is our 8th week. Yeah, I think this is our 8th week. And well over 30,000+ listens. The word is traveling because you're telling one person a day. And so thank you very much. Thank you very much for all that you do for the Doug Stewart Show. The studio audience thanks you as well. We really do appreciate it. All right, so obviously we're going to talk some football. We're going to talk college football, pro football, in particular the Georgia sports scene this weekend. A lot of big games for the Falcons, for the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll talk about those in a second. What else is going on in the world of sports? We're going to talk about Derrick Rose, and very disappointing. But you know what? You can't really control injuries and accidents. That's why they call them injuries and accidents. But we'll talk more about Derrick Rose. Some baseball news and notes. MVP awards passed out. The NBA's commissioner, Adam Silver, is going for it. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, man. If you haven't heard, this guy has come in and just, on the ground running. Adam Silver, man, made some very interesting comments about gambling and the future of gambling in this country, so we'll talk about that as well. There's a couple of bad NBA teams. One in particular is my Lakers. But there's also another basketball team that may be historically bad. I mean, long-term, just incredibly bad. And so we'll talk about that team today as well. All right, 404-382-0338. Listen, this weekend is going down. In this business, it's almost like a pat on the back for someone to ask you to come in and help talk about their new venture, a grand opening. And this weekend, the Doug Stewart Show has been blessed and fortunate enough to be invited to host the grand opening of the Tavern Restaurant in the Swats, shawty. Yes. So we're going to have a football viewing party this weekend. Obviously, the Falcons will be on the screen. All the other big games will be on as well. A bunch of TVs at the Tavern Restaurant. New grand opening this weekend. 5819 Campbellton Road. All right. So I'm going to be down there before kickoff at 1 o'clock, as well as Algie Crumpler is going to come through and show some love, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. Games, trivia, giveaways, all that type stuff, food specials. It's just going to be crazy this weekend. So pass the word. The Doug Stewart Show, the entire staff is on the road. Yes. We're on the road this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant in the Swats, 5819 Campbellton Road. Pass the word for your boy. Come through and have a good time. Let's cheer on these Dirty Birds, and hopefully they can get back on the right track and win some football games. All right, also today's show, on the Doug Stewart Show, we're going to talk to Sean King. You remember Sean King, former quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as well as the Tulane Green Wave. Yes, so he's going to come on today. He's actually a football analyst for Yahoo Sports. Now, Sean King, he used to work with us at ESPN at First Take. He used to come on every once in a while, just like we did. And this dude is not only a football guru, but he's very centralized in not just one sport. Sean King talks college football and pro football for Yahoo Sports. So he's going to come on today, and I'm going to ask him some very direct questions about what's going on in college football in this playoff pairings and the rankings and all of that type stuff. I got some real questions for Sean King, and I talked about him earlier this week on Tuesday or Wednesday when the new seedings came out thus far for the playoff committee, and I got some issues, and Sean King is one of those guys that can definitely answer those questions, so we're going to talk to him in about 20 minutes, and he's actually going to talk college football. And then we're going to flip it and talk some NFL with him as well. Good career in the league. I think Sean King was actually close to winning the Heisman Trophy when he was at Tulane. Or maybe he wasn't that. Tulane actually went undefeated the year he played college football. So we'll talk to the great Sean King a little bit later. All right, 404-382-0338. Hit me on the chat. Hit me on the chat on Spreaker.com. Hit me on Twitter at The Doug Stewart Show. You need to retweet my daily fortune and the daily numbers. I mean, give the gift of The Doug Stewart Show. All right? Pass out and deliver some stew magic to everybody on your timeline. So retweet my Doug Stewart fortune of the day. All right, so obviously this weekend, big matchups for the home teams in the state of Georgia, in particular the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons on the road taking on the Carolina Panthers. And pretty much this is a can't-lose situation. If the Falcons lose this game right now with a 3-6 record, the Panthers are 3-6, that'll just put the Panthers ahead of the Falcons. And as crazy as the division is this year, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, as crazy as the division is this year, and all the teams in this division are struggling, and a team is probably going to win it with an 8-6 record or 8-8 record or a 9-7 record. If the Falcons lose this weekend, it's a wrap. It's pretty much a wrap because the Panthers will be ahead of them. You already know the Saints are ahead of them. And so the unthinkable would probably be over this weekend if the Falcons don't get this win. So what they're going to have to do is obviously try to control the running game of the Carolina Panthers. Hopefully Cam Newton doesn't get things together because he's been struggling the last couple of weeks, just like everybody in this division. But Cam in particular has been struggling. A lot of heat in the national press for Cam Newton. So hopefully he doesn't get it together, and hopefully the Falcons can get this big win. Once again, we will be watching this game live. It's a Falcon NFL thingy viewing party going down this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant off of Campbellton Road. Come on through and holla at your folks, all right? Also this weekend, the Georgia Bulldogs, Georgia, taking on the Auburn Tigers at home in Athens. And this is a huge game for a lot of reasons, not in particularly, I think, on the national scene. Auburn's number 9, Georgia's number 15. Both have 2 losses. I think this is big, obviously, to get back in the conversation for the SEC championship. And what you want as Georgia is you want to go in there and handle your business. Todd Gurley comes back to play this weekend for the first time in a long-ass time. And you also hope that Missouri loses in that SEC East as well in the division so that the Georgia Bulldogs can try to get into this SEC championship game. So we're hoping for that as well. And they got a good shot. Gurley's coming back. You know what Nick Chubb can do. Hudson Mason had probably his best game as a quarterback last weekend as far as throwing the ball. So Georgia can right a couple of wrongs and get back on the winning side of the board and try to make a run for this SEC championship game. So that's a big game this weekend. We are definitely going to keep our eyes on. And also this weekend, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets host the Clemson Tigers. And what this means is Deshaun Watson, quarterback Player of the Year, I believe he was, from the state of Georgia, Buford High School, comes back. He's going to play this weekend for the Clemson Tigers. And so Georgia Tech is another team trying to get into the ACC Championship. 8-2 right now against the 7-2 Clemson Tigers. And both of these teams have a lot to play for. They're not going to play for a national championship, but there's a lot to play for, a lot to look at in this game this weekend for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So we are definitely going to keep our eyes on that. And go Tech. If my brother was here right now, he'd say go Tech. And this is a huge one, man. It's a huge one for Paul Johnson because, Paul Johnson's always just got a lot of heat on his back because of what's going on under his tenure for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So surely, they're going to try to bring their A game this weekend. Justin Thomas is fantastic, having a great season, all things considered. And so we'll keep our eyes on that game as well. We'll talk about that more throughout today's show. If you want to talk about any of these games, all right, if you want to talk about any of these games, any game in the NFL, college football, give me a call, 404-382-0338. This is your show, the People's Show, the hottest sports talk show in America. You best believe that. Yes. Hey, listen. Would you like to work with the Doug Stewart Show and partner with the Doug Stewart Show and have us talk about your brand, your product, your company, whatever it may be? Yes, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Not only do we have packages that we can put together for you for a long-term project, we also now have the Doug Stewart business pages. Yes. So we're talking one-day advertising, 2-day advertising, a week advertising. Yeah, I mean, we've got all types of options for you based on your budget and what you're trying to do, all right? So if you want to partner with the Doug Stewart Show, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. In about 18 minutes, we're going to talk to Sean King and talk a lot of college football. But up next, let's talk a little bit about the Dolphins. The Dolphins, like they say in Atlanta, the Dolphins are rising up. Yes. And all the big matchups this weekend in the NFL and college football, we'll preview those. All right, don't go anywhere. Sports talk for the people. It's the Doug Stewart Show. Business owners, Advertise Unlimited is one of the few national flyer and door hanger distribution companies that service every market in the U.S., promoting your grand opening or special event, as well as creating brand recognition amongst the public. Here's what they do. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. The beauty is they outperform direct mail advertising, and your ad doesn't get lost in the mailbox. Now, isn't that what really matters? Boom! The most professional, reliable distribution teams in the business, and they also provide real-time proof of performance for all campaigns. An A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and were voted one of the fastest-growing companies in the U.S. by Inc. magazine. Advertise Unlimited has the capability to print and distribute up to 20,000 flyers or more for less than the price of a stamp. Use the promo code DSS and get an extra 10% discount on your initial campaign. So, give them a call at 1-866-369-9003. Again, that's 1-866-369-9003, or check out their website at goadvertiseunlimited.com and make your advertising dollars count. Yes! You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much, much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor?
Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Yes!
Punching you in the gut with that real sports talk, like Mike Tyson. It's the Doug Stewart Show.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. This is a Football Friday. Yes. Man, we got a lot going on today. We're going to talk to Sean King. He's going to come on from Yahoo Sports and talk college football and professional football. A lot of big matchups this weekend. We'll talk about some of those in a second. This segment is brought to you by Advertisers Unlimited. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. And the beauty of it is it's not like direct mail where they can just chunk it in the trash. Check out my folks. If you're a company out there and you want to try this latest, most innovating way of promoting your company, check out my friends at advertiseunlimited.com. That's goadvertiseunlimited.com, or give them a call at 866-369-9003. Once again, that's 866-369-9003. If you're just joining me, don't forget, pass the word. Come on out and eat some wings and drink some brew with your boy this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant. That's right, the Tavern Restaurant. The grand opening is going down this weekend in the Doug Stewart Show. The Tree of Life, Waterhead Walter, CJ the DJ, everybody, all of the staff is coming down this weekend. So come on out and meet my folks, and let's watch the Falcons get this win, man. Let's think positive. Algie Crumpler, former Atlanta Falcon, former Pro Bowler, is going to be in the house as well. So come on through this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant. Not the one right off of 285. This is a new location, okay? And much love to them too, but this is all about the address of 5819 Campbellton Road in Atlanta, Georgia. The grand opening of the Tavern Restaurant, and the Doug Stewart Show will be there promoting it. Shouts out to the Qs. What up, Qs? This is Achievement Week for my beloved fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And so last night, my chapter, Delta Mu Mu, got together and went down to, what's the place called downtown in Buckhead? Oh, Twin Peaks. Have you ever been to Twin Peaks? Nice little spot. I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing with the waitresses. I see exactly what they're doing with those waitresses at Twin Peaks. So we went out there last night, had a good time, fellowship, saw a lot of bros hadn't seen in a while. And so the fraternity came in existence November 17th, 1911. And so every year we have a week where we do a bunch of different social activities, charity stuff, and reflect upon the fraternity and what it's been and what it's meant to so many people in this country. So shouts out to the Qs. Yeah. All right, this weekend going down in the NFL, a lot of big matchups, but in particular one last night, Thursday night game. Once again, I don't think one of the greatest games, not one of the best matchups, but I will say this, the Miami Dolphins are playing pretty good football this year. They get a win. A win is a win is a win. It might have been kind of ugly, but they beat the Buffalo Bills 22-9. And so Ryan Tannehill has a decent night as well. Passing for the Miami Dolphins, 26-34, 240 yards. You remember earlier this year, everybody was questioning Ryan Tannehill, and Philbin couldn't make the decision if he was going to continue to start for the team. And it seems like they figured it out. They're running a lot more spread option. They're doing a lot of things. Ryan Tannehill is showing some of his physical attributes, which he's had. A lot of people forget this guy played wide receiver at Texas A&M before he was switched to quarterback. So I think they're figuring out the best ways to use this guy. And I'm going to ask Sean King when we get him on a little bit later from Yahoo Sports, his thoughts on these Dolphins. Do he think that they are real or for fake? That's something I'm going to start doing on this show when we start having on these analysts. Are the Miami Dolphins for real or for fake? Because there's a lot of teams like that out there that you look at and you question. They're winning games, but, you know, the competition isn't that great this year. And some of these conferences in particular, the NFC South, and these teams have been bad for so long. Do you really believe in them? Do you think they have what it takes to make some noise in the playoffs this year. So we're going to talk to Sean King about the Miami Dolphins as well. Also, some big games, some big matchups this weekend in the NFL. Not really a big matchup, but the Vikings taking on the Chicago Bears. We want to see, I guess as football fans, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, we want to see if the Bears are going to continue this just fall. I mean, it's just bad, and this is one of the teams that a lot of people figured to be in the hunt come December, but it doesn't look like it. So the Vikings take on the Bears this weekend. Also, another big matchup, the Seahawks taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Seahawks have been playing great football over the last couple of weeks. I think Russell Wilson has got his bearings about himself, and Pete Carroll and that offense. Another team that's been running a lot more spread and getting the running game involved more so and not relying upon the passing game is the Seattle Seahawks. So they're on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, one of the toughest places to play in sports. So we're going to keep our eyes on that game as well. And then also another huge matchup this weekend in the NFL is the San Francisco 49ers taking on the New York Football Giants. Not really a huge matchup for the Giants, but in the regard that the 49ers got to keep it going, okay? They're starting to get players back healthy. They're starting to get guys back from suspension. And this is one of the teams also that a lot of people think, like myself in particular, because I've said it, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I think the 49ers are a team that could play in a Super Bowl. Obviously, they've been fantastic over the last couple of years, but this is my team that I picked from the NFC to go to the Super Bowl, so hopefully they can get things together and get back on the right track and continue to win the games that they are supposed to win this weekend. And the two, I'm going to go ahead and include a third game in it as well. The three biggest games this weekend, by far, based on record and what they've got on the line, is number one, the Philadelphia Eagles on the road taking on the Green Bay Packers. Got to see what they're going to do, as well as you want to see what Mark Sanchez is going to do in another outing to see if he can actually be the guy. If he's learned from his past errors and has stepped this game up. So you got a red-hot Green Bay Packer team taking on a Philadelphia Eagle team with a new quarterback with a lot of storylines, and both teams are playing good football. Aaron Rodgers right now may be in the hunt for the MVP, him and DeMarco Murray. So you want to see if that continues. So you got Eagles-Packers. You also got a game between the new kids on the block, I call them. The Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals, 7-2 Lions against the 8-1 Cardinals, the best record in the league. So that's something we're going to keep our eyes on as well. And also, the New England Patriots taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Yes. So you got Tom Brady versus Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck, 6-3 versus 7-2. And Andrew Luck, everybody's talking about Andrew Luck. Is this guy the next big thing, okay? Let's be honest. Tom Brady, getting kind of old. Let's be honest. Peyton Manning, old as hell. Badass neck, okay? So these guys, their careers are winding down, and Andrew Luck is the next, okay? Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick and Cam Newton, not so much over the last couple of weeks. So Andrew Luck is one of these guys at the head of the class as far as quarterbacks. And so that's going to be a huge matchup this weekend, 8:30 p.m. on Sunday night. So that's the Sunday night matchup. And then Monday, we'll talk about this game a little bit more on Monday, obviously, but the Steelers take on the Titans. But so, yeah, the big three games this weekend, I think most people can agree on, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, is the Eagles versus the Packers, and the Lions versus the Cardinals, and the Patriots versus the Colts. Quickly, in the college football, the big matchup this weekend is Mississippi State. Wow. Yeah, the Bulldogs taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. And, wow, this is so many implications out there for this one. And all dealing with this playoffs and the final four teams that are going to be paired up. So this is Orca big. This almost seems like it should be one of those Saturday night games, but it's at 3:30. So you got a fantastic matchup early in the day, relatively speaking, and then later on that night, Florida State taking on the Miami Hurricanes. Florida State undefeated, hadn't lost a game in 2 years. Jameis Winston, the quarterback, taking on the Miami Hurricanes. This used to be like the bee's knees of college football games back in the day. Not so much now because the Miami Hurricanes are struggling. Everybody knows that. But they're 6-3. They're not bad. They're doing okay. They haven't done what they've done in the past where they, were vying for a national championship. But so this is going to be a good game. In-state rivalry. Florida State, is this the weekend that they lose a game? They could. I mean, on the road at Miami. Hadn't been playing great football. Is still undefeated, but not the Miami or the Florida State team that we saw last year win it all. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. And, football all weekend long. My gosh, I love football. Do you love football? Do you love it? Oh, my gosh. A couple other matchups in college football this weekend as well. We'll talk about throughout today's show. But when we get back from the break, yes, we're going to talk to Sean King. You need to make sure and stay tuned and listen to this guy. This guy really, this is one of my dudes, okay? Me and this guy's kicked it before. All right, and so this is one of my dudes outside of the business, outside of the industry. Real cool dude, good people, and he knows his football. Yeah, I guess he took what he did off the field and decided to move on with his life, and seriously be a technician and an analyst of college and pro football. Some of these guys and most of these guys just talk one thing. Yahoo Sports has contracted this dude, Sean King, to talk both. All right? So don't go away. We're going to talk to Sean King up next from Yahoo Sports. Football, football, football. Don't go away. It's the Doug Stewart Show. Yes. Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. One-week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Got an injured player? No problem. At DraftKings.com, it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players. Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash. This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000. And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com. You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings.com. Get free entry into their $100,000 fantasy football contest this weekend where first place takes home $10,000. Head to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code Spreaker to play for free. DraftKings.com, bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker for free entry now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com, that's DraftKings.com.
What is 9/11 Tax Relief? It's a tax relief company that can help you reduce or remove your IRS or state tax debt. They help stop bank levies and wage garnishments by implementing offers and compromise or penalty abatements. 9/11 Tax Relief is a tax relief company, but they're different from the others. Their experts are licensed, enrolled tax agents, and they also have more than 12 years experience helping people solve their tax problems. They're a tax relief company that understands how the IRS works, and they'll also put that knowledge to work for you so they can get you the best possible settlement or solution to your tax problems. Highly rated by the Better Business Bureau, and they've helped thousands of people solve their tax problems. So, don't play around. Click on the link on my website and let 9/11 Tax Relief help you in your situation with your uncle, better yet known as Uncle Sam. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes!
The personal ass kicker of Skip Bayless? Doug Stewart.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Thanks for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. This is a Football Friday. Speaking of Football Friday, don't forget, this weekend, Sunday, we are going to be at the Tavern Restaurant for the grand opening. Yes, me and Algie Crumpler, former Pro Bowler for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons here in town, so make sure you come through 5819 Campbellton Road in Atlanta, Georgia. All right? So come on through. Pass the word. We're going to have a good time. The whole staff's going to be there, and we are going to do the damn thing. All right? 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. And this segment is brought to you by DraftKings. That's right, DraftKings. DraftKings is making millionaires. That's right. Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. So check them out on my website, thedougstewartshow.com. Click on their banner link, create an account, and yes, we have a Doug Stewart challenge going on every weekend, and so Sunday we're going to do the challenge based off the NFL games. And if you think your fantasy skills is all that, create an account on my website and get into the Doug Stewart Football Challenge this weekend, all right? But right now, joining me on the Doug Stewart Show is former NFL quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and also the Tulane Green Wave, my man Sean King. Sean, what up, folks?
What's going on, Dougie?
Man, I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Man, look, I'm great now, man. It's so good to finally be on the Doug Stewart Show. We golf every Friday, and I would only interrupt my golfing for you, brother.
Hey, I feel privileged, man, that you would interrupt your golfing for me in the Doug Stewart Show, man. But everything's good. You're working right now for Yahoo Sports. You do college and pro, and being in the business, I know that's usually not the norm. That's a lot of responsibility, man. How you like it?
It is, man, and I'm honored that Yahoo thinks enough of me, to allow me to take on both of those responsibilities for them. And, I embrace it. I like it. I do the draft for them. So, being able to cover college, it really helps me because I get very familiar with a lot of the college kids early in that process. So I'm grateful, brother.
Right. Talking to Sean King right now from Yahoo Sports. All right, what I want to do is I'm going to pick your brain and I'm going to really make your work, man. I want to talk to you probably. This thing might extend out to 2 segments, so we'll see. But first, I want to talk some college football with you, man. I got some issues with the new rankings that just came out by the committee. I want to get your thoughts on them and tell me, am I wrong about having said thought? And number one, Oregon jumps Florida State in the poll this weekend. My problem with that is obvious. Oregon has 1 loss. They had it at home against Arizona. Florida State is undefeated, Sean. I mean, they haven't lost a game in 2 years. Why did the committee go this way with this pairing?
I think there's a lot of national dislike for Florida State, Doug. I think there's a lot of people that dislike Jameis Winston. I think there's a lot of people that dislike the way Jimbo Fisher has handled the Jameis Winston situations, and I think you're seeing that, come out of the rankings. The one thing about the rankings, no matter how objective they try to be, they're still human.
Right.
And as humans, we have our natural biases. Some perceive, some real, and I think you're starting to see that. There's no way that you can actually watch football and think that Oregon's a better team than Florida State.
Right.
Not in my opinion.
Right.
I think that loss at home for Oregon against Arizona is a very bad loss. Florida State, even though they've had some close games, they found a way to win. I even think, teams like TCU, who've lost on the road at teams that are ranked high, deserve to be in front of Oregon. I think right now Oregon's ranking has a lot to do with their tradition and their history as much as it has to do with, is this year's team that good?
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And I also think that they're trying to diversify this thing, and they're trying to find a way to get in teams from other conferences like Oregon. Speaking of TCU, and we are talking to Sean King from Yahoo Sports right now on the Doug Stewart Show. Speaking of TCU, another issue I have is TCU being ranked over Alabama. And now, let me just put this out there. I think all of this stuff is going to work itself out. Alabama's taking on, they still got the Iron Bowl to play. But the problem I have with TCU being ranked ahead of Alabama is TCU doesn't play in the conference that Alabama does. And also, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but TCU has the talent pool on that team isn't what Alabama is. And I think Alabama every week in and week out plays a tougher schedule. What do you think about that?
I think that's fair. I think I agree with you that Alabama controls their own destiny. If they beat Mississippi State this week and they beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl and they win the SEC championship game, I mean, they'll be in the Final Four. Having said that, one thing I try and do, Doug, is make sure I watch all the teams. And
Right.
that's very hard for most people, and I got to say this. TCU passes the eye test. I think Trevon Boykin, their quarterback, is the best player that the average person doesn't know about in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Patterson has had this program at this level for a while. People forget now, TCU and Boise State are one of the reasons that this thing has evolved into what it's become. And so he understands how to win big games. I kind of give them an asterisk on their loss. I don't know how many people actually watched that game, but I thought the referees did them a huge disservice in the fourth quarter at Baylor. I thought they got some extremely bad calls that allowed Baylor to get back in that game. But I don't know. I don't know on a neutral field who wins between TCU and Alabama.
Talking to Sean King right now from Yahoo Sports on the Doug Stewart Show. Speaking of Baylor, you just lead me right into my next questions, man. Speaking of Baylor, so TCU is ranked over Baylor, and yes, there were a lot of things. There were a lot of extenuating circumstances that happened in their game against each other, TCU and Baylor. But Baylor beat TCU on the field. What gives?
That's interesting, and that's kind of the dilemma. If we get to the end of the year and these teams all have one loss, I think the win against Kansas State, is pretty impressive. Everybody considered Kansas State an elite team. They lost a close game to Auburn earlier, and TCU handled Kansas State pretty handily. So I can't argue with a person that, says Baylor should be in front of TCU because they beat them head-to-head. I just don't know, how you make an argument against that. At the same time, if I use the eye test, I think TCU's better than Baylor. And again, I'll repeat, I thought Baylor got some very favorable calls, late in the fourth quarter to help them get that victory.
Talking to Sean King right now on the Doug Stewart Show, Football Friday, talking college football right now. In a second, we'll talk some NFL. All right, and my last thing, and I've really got a big pet peeve about this. Clearly, this committee, and I hear these interviews with all these people from this committee, and they're talking about how they start with a clean slate every single week. I get that. I understand that. But clearly, they are putting a lot of weight into what they call quality wins, okay? I understand that. I feel them on that. The problem I have is I don't think that they're taking into account the actual talent, and I haven't heard anybody really look at it from this perspective. My problem with having TCU over Alabama mainly is because we follow college football. We look at what happens in high school football with recruiting. And every year consistently for the last 5, 6, 7 years under Nick Saban, Alabama has a roster full of 4- and 5-star players. TCU has a roster full of 2- and 3-star players. Shouldn't the talent level come into play a little bit in these rankings, Sean?
I guess that's another factor that they have to consider. I think, I don't necessarily always agree with those rankings coming out of high school. I guess to argue the other side of your point, Doug, is, how can you really tell, for 50% of the kids that are in the ESPN Top 150?
Right.
I mean, a lot of that has to do with how profile their high school program is, how willing their high school coaches to make those guys, to get them exposed so that they know. But I mean, how many times in the first round, when you go back and grade the first round NFL draft, how many of those guys are actual 5-stars coming out of high school, and how many are 2, 3, or 4? So I don't know if the correlation, because if that's the case, then Florida State should be number one. Because they've nicknamed Florida State 5-star youth. I don't know if you saw, they just got the number one quarterback in 2016 committed.
Right.
They got about 5 stars already for this next time. I mean, Jimbo has recruited better than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you think they put 11 players into the NFL draft 2 years ago, and then I think they put 7 or 8 last year, I mean, what kind of program could have that mass exodus of an NFL-type talent and still be sitting here undefeated?
Yeah, but let me jump in and say something, though. I mean,
okay,
a lot of times it does play out. I mean, Reggie Bush, okay, Vince Young, Cam Newton, Jadeveon Clowney. A lot of times the talent does, average-wise, probably does bear out a lot of times as well. And my thing is, if you got TCU with a bunch of players that, weren't ranked as high coming out of high school, and once again, we're not putting 100% faith into those recruiting numbers. But if they're playing against other teams, average teams in the Big 12, and Alabama is playing against top teams with top talent in the SEC, I think that should factor in a little bit more. That's all I'm saying, Sean.
And that's fair. I think TCU is a bad example simply because, Oklahoma, Texas, they get their share of 5 stars, when they're playing at their best, from a facility standpoint, the Big 12, the Big 10, the Pac-12, they're all making, improvements. I think the one thing that separates the SEC still, from as a conference is the commitment that the universities in the SEC make to football. And until you have that, you're not going to compete year in and year out because of the amount of money that they're allocating to make sure that their football programs, have a chance to succeed. Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they're never going to be able to year in and year out recruit with Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, those schools. But they're going to put the resources so that when they get the right group of juniors and seniors and they have a couple 5 stars, that they can do what they're doing now.
Right.
So I agree with you. And I think, if you look at the rankings, they've given the SEC credit for being the SEC. It looks like their teams, the ones at the top, have been able to sustain losses and still be relevant, in the conversation. So, I don't know at the end of the year how it's going to pan out. The one thing I tell people, Doug, all the SEC teams still have to play each other.
Right.
So they're all going to end up losing or have losses at some point. What do you do? Like, say Alabama, beats Mississippi State, beats Auburn, Mississippi State loses to Alabama, beats Ole Miss.
Right.
And you got a 1-loss Mississippi State and a 1-loss Alabama. Like, what do you end up doing in that scenario? Especially if Ohio State runs the table and Oregon runs the table, because they want to get the conference champions in. But, you couldn't tell me that Ohio State or Oregon could beat Ole Miss, Auburn, or one of those second-tier SEC West schools. So it's going to be a tough – I still think people are going to be upset and mad at the end of the day. They got to kind of do the best they can do.
All right. So, Sean, you got time, man, the whole. I want to get back on. I want to ask you one final college football question, and then I'm also going to ask you a bunch of stuff and talk a little bit of NFL, all right?
All right, perfect.
We're going to hold. We're going to put Sean King on hold, and we're going to take him back when we get back from the break. But, yeah, man, and once again, I know this stuff is going to probably work itself out. That'll be fine, but I really believe that they aren't taking into consideration the talent on these teams when all things are relative. When you got 2 teams that have 1 loss and they're pretty much as another determiner, I think you should look at the talent level in said team, on said team, and in said conference. All right, don't go away. Up next on the Doug Stewart Show, more of our conversation with Sean King from Yahoo Sports. We're going to talk some NFL. Don't go away. The Doug Stewart Show.
This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedugstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedugstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor, Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boat. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Yes!
All meat, no gristle. The Doug Stewart Show.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. This is a Football Friday. Yes, thank you for joining your boy. I really do appreciate it. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. Have you told at least one person about the livest, the most interactive, the most fun show in America? The Doug Stewart Show? Have you done that? Make sure you do that, man. I really would appreciate it. Check me out on Twitter at The Doug Stewart Show. We're on the chat on Spreaker.com, having a good time, as well as right now on the line, still with your boy on The Doug Stewart Show, is Sean King, football analyst. I'm just going to say general football, college and pro for Yahoo Sports. And we're talking a little college football. I want to get into some NFL with you right now, Sean, and thank you for holding. Hey, before we even go any further, how can people check you out on Yahoo or what's your social network handles, Twitter, all of that stuff?
My Twitter handle is @RealSeanKing. That's SHAUN. You can find me on YahooSports.com. I'm always posting instant analysis, all kind of podcasts. I'll be back on NBC Sports Network after the Super Bowl. I also just did an interesting, I ranked the coaches in the National Football League 1 to 32. So if you go to Yahoo.com and click in Sean King Coaches Rankings, you guys can check that out and hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you think.
That's what's up.
Again,
all right.
on Twitter, that's @RealSeanKing.
@RealSeanKing on Twitter. That's what's up. Hey, all right, so in the last segment, we were talking about college football. Let me finish up that conversation. How do you think this thing is going to play out based on the matchups still to come? Who do you see playing in the national championship game? And this is all prognosis, but who do you see playing in the national championship game, and who wins it?
I think if Ohio State wins out,
wow,
they're going to give Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to get the benefit of the doubt, Doug, and they're going to get in the Final Four. I think the winner of the SEC West, barring them losing the SEC championship game, is going to make the Final Four. If Florida State can run the table, they'll be in the Final Four. I think Florida State's the only team that's in that top group, Doug, that if they were to lose, they won't get in. I just think there is a national distaste for Florida State, and I think it's wrong. I don't think they should have that kind of bias, but I'm just being realistic. I don't think they can get Oregon, if they run the table, will be in. So, I think in the end, the Big 12 could get left out, Doug. I really do.
Wow.
I think TCU and Baylor, could end up with one loss and neither one be in the top four.
Wow. Talking to Sean King right now from Yahoo Sports on the Doug Stewart Show, talking some football. All right, let's switch gears to the NFL. I want to play a little game with you, man, and let me get your thoughts on a couple of teams. And the question is, for real or for fake? All right, first, the Miami Dolphins. They get a big win last night on Thursday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. Are the Miami Dolphins for real or for fake?
I think on defense they're for real, Doug. I still don't believe Ryan Tannehill is ready to go head-to-head with any of the other elite quarterbacks in the AFC and lead his team to victory. So I'm going to say overall for fake. I still think they're a quarterback away from really being able to challenge New England and Denver and those teams to actually make it to the championship game.
The Detroit Lions. This is a team that always, teases us every year. Do you think the Detroit Lions are for real or for fake?
I think they're for real, and I think if there's a coach that's underappreciated that hadn't got enough credit in the National Football League, it's Jim Caldwell. When you think about Detroit, they've always had the talent. What they've lacked is the maturity and the discipline, and he's instilled both of those. I tell people all the time, if Bill Cowher had came out of the broadcast booth and taken this Detroit job, and they sat at 7-2, all they would be talking about is Bill Cowher for Coach of the Year.
Right.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell has done this job, and you never hear Jim Caldwell's name mentioned. It's time people start giving him the credit for what he's been able to do. They're a completely different team. You haven't heard, Sue or Fairley, any of those guys involved in anything that they shouldn't have been in. They're winning games in the fourth quarter that they used to lose, and it's all because of the coach.
Wow. All right, the Arizona Cardinals, who Detroit actually plays this weekend, 7-2 Lions versus 8-1 Cardinals. Cardinals' best record in the league. Cardinals for real or for fake?
Well, I think Bruce Arians should be coach of the year. He's done an outstanding job, especially with them losing Darnell Dockett, Darrell Washington, John Abraham. I mean, they've had a bunch of injuries, but I don't know that they can sustain the latest injury, Doug, and that's Carson Palmer. You know, I know Arians is high on Drew Stanton. He's had him with him a couple different places, but, you know, I just don't think he's ready again, you know, to take that jump and get Arizona, you know, over the hump as far as making a championship. So I'm going to say for fake now because of the injury to Carson.
Philadelphia Eagles, for real or for fake?
I think they're for real. I think they've improved on defense. You know, I think no matter who the quarterback there is, the system is going to allow that quarterback to be successful. So, you know, I think they're for real. I think they're a nightmare to defend. You know, with Jerry Maclin and Jordan Matthews emerging and Darren Sproles and McCoy, they have a lot of ways that they can, you know, get themselves in favorable matchups, and Chip Kelly is a master play caller. So I'm going to say for real.
I'm talking to Sean King right now from Yahoo Sports with the Doug Stewart Show on a Football Friday. And the last one of this for real or for fake question. The Dallas Cowboys, man, for real or for fake?
For fake. You know, I just think the Cowboys are the Cowboys. I mean, Doug, they're internally flawed, man. I just, you know, and I admire Tony Romo, you know, for his commitment to this year and trying to fight through. But, I mean, it's always something. I mean, with all the success they have going now, it looks like, you know, Dez Bryant and Jerry are in a contract dispute. I just mean, you know, can DeMarco Murray hold up? I mean, that defense has been overachieving. You know, it's starting to get injuries left and right. You know, I just think at the end of the day, they'll be somewhere around 8-8, and if they do make the playoffs, they'll lose in the first round.
What's the matter with the Chicago Bears, Sean?
Everybody's rich.
Yeah.
In order to win in professional sports, I truly believe you've got to have the right mixture of your star players. You know, of guys that have gotten paid, guys that are trying to get paid, you know, guys that have gotten paid that really believe legacy and about legacy and trying to win a championship. I mean, with the Bears, all their guys are rich. I mean, you look at Cutler, Marshall, Martellus Bennett. I mean, all those guys are
They're not
paid.
hungry. They're not hungry.
Yeah, they're not, and they don't have the intrinsic makeup to overcome that and lead other men. Like, you know, I just don't think Cutler's ever had the intangibles. I don't think he's ever, you know, had that kind of impact on his teammates to where they'll follow him. So, you know, it's all about talent. And when his talent, you know, isn't producing, then they're a bad team. Adding to that, you know, I think Mark Trestman is a wonderful offensive coach. I don't think he's the kind of head coach that can carry a underachieving team. You get what you got in Chicago.
The Raiders 0-9 right now. Looking at their schedule, it doesn't look bright at all. First of all, the team has just been in a real, pit. It's just been bad for a long time, that organization. Do they win a game this year, Sean?
I think they win a game. And I think if you're a Raider fan, you understood coming into this year that the expectations were going to be low. You know, I think there are some bright spots on the Raiders. Khalil Mack, he hadn't got a lot of attention nationally. He's having an outstanding rookie year, the linebacker from Buffalo. You know, I think Derek Carr has shown talent. Mm-hmm. You know, I think if they can commit to continue to get better pieces around him, you know, he has a chance to be okay. And Michael Rivera, the young tight end, has kind of emerged. So, you know, I don't think the whole season's lost. I think they do have some young players that have shown some talent. Now it's just about the organization, you know, making the right decision. And I hate to say people should get fired, but Reggie McKenzie's done a bad job. I think you got to, you know, fire the GM, you know, get a competent GM in there, allow him to hire his own head coach and, you know, utilize the young players you have and build on it and start heading in the right direction.
For some reason, Sean, and we're finishing up with Sean King right now from Yahoo Sports talking some NFL on the Doug Stewart Show. For some reason, I like Ryan Mallett. He gets to start this weekend for the Texans against the Browns. You know, we're trained behind Tom Brady for a couple of years, traded to the Texans. Had a phenomenal career in college, looks the part, big, strong arm, coach's son, all of that stuff. But it seems like the league and everybody surrounding him isn't that high on him. What's the deal with Ryan Mallett, and how do you think he's going to do this weekend?
Well, Doug, he had some significant red flags coming out of Arkansas for off-the-field stuff. You know, he was extremely immature in college. You know, he got involved in some different things that you don't want your quarterback involved in. But I believe association breeds assimilation. You know, whatever you hang around, you take on the characteristics of that environment. So what we get to see this weekend is how big of an impact him being around Tom Brady has had on who he is as a person and how he approaches the quarterback position in the game of football. And if that's been a positive impact, I agree with you. He has all the physical tools necessary. To me, he has a lot of Jay Cutler in him. You know, what's interesting, and I hope someone around him has told him this, he's playing for a $100 million deal to be the franchise quarterback of the Houston Texans. who have an owner that's committed to putting the pieces around him to win a championship. So it's a big opportunity for him. We'll see if he takes advantage of it.
All right, just like the college question, at this point in the season, who do you like to make it to the Super Bowl, to the big game, and who do you like to win it?
I'm going Seattle versus New England, and I'm going Brady and Belichick to finally win their fourth. You know, I think people are still underestimating Seattle because things are coming easy, but I still think they have that championship fabric and character. And I think ultimately they're going to come out of the NFC. You know, I think they'll beat Green Bay in the NFC Championship game, and I like New England and Brady to beat Manning and the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. And Brady and Belichick, they win their fourth.
That's what's up. All right, Sean King, once again, man, let everybody that listens to the Doug Stewart Show know how they can check you out, social networks, all of that stuff.
Hey, real Sean King, man. It's been a pleasure. Y'all keep supporting my boy Doug. He's good people.
That's what's up. Sean King right there on the Doug Stewart Show. Thanks, folks. We're going to talk to you down the road. Yeah. That's my dude right there. Sean King. Didn't even get a chance to talk to him about his Tulane Green Wave. Probably subconsciously on purpose. But, yeah, good dude right there. Knows his stuff. And, wow. Yeah, he's talking about the Seahawks and the New England Patriots for the Super Bowl. All right. The dude does a lot of homework, always very prepared. Good dude. All right, up next on the Doug Stewart Show, man, we'll get the second hour off and running. We'll talk some football, obviously, all day long, college and pro. We'll touch upon some of the things that Sean talked about in the next hour. Also, I'll start reading some of your chat, some of your Twitter messages, all of that type stuff. I mean, this is the funnest show on turf. And it's Friday. We talking football. And we doing live broadcast this weekend. Well, not really a live broadcast. We're hosting a grand opening this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant. That's right. It's live radio, all right? Yeah, it's live radio. I thought I beat this cold, but it's still hanging around a little bit. All right, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't go away to Doug Stewart Show. Business owners, Advertising Limited is one of the few national flyer and door hanger distribution companies that service every market in the U.S., promoting your grand opening or special event, as well as creating brand recognition amongst the public. Here's what they do. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. The beauty is they outperform direct mail advertising, and your ad doesn't get lost in the mailbox. Now, isn't that what really matters? Boom! The most professional, reliable distribution teams in the business, and they also provide real-time proof of performance for all campaigns. An A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and were voted one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. by Inc. magazine. Advertising Limited has the capability to print and distribute up to 20,000 flyers or more for less than the price of a stamp. Use the promo code DSS and get an extra 10% discount on your initial campaign. So, give them a call at 1-866-369-9003. Again, that's 1-866-369-9003, or check out their website at goadvertiseunlimited.com and make your advertising dollars count. Yes!
You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much, much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running. But just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boat. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedougsstewartshow.com. Yes!
We're just getting started. Count it off like this. 1, 2, 3, IV. Intelligent rhymes with original styles. And we got Mr. James Brown and Man-Child. It's you. Wanna know. The real deal. Then here it goes. We got it.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. It's hour number 2. Yes! Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. And I am fine. Yes, thank you for all of your concern. Yeah, just a little bit of stuff still back there in my throat, in my sinuses. But I'm fine. I'm a professional. I rise. Yes, like Maya Angelou. I rise. It's going to be all right. Oh, this is live radio, man. Come on. Cut me some slack. All right, this weekend, man, is going down. The grand opening of the new Tavern restaurant in the Swats. Oh, yeah. Somebody emailed me and said, what the hell does Swats mean? What does Swats mean? What does it stand for? Swats is an Atlanta term. That's Southwest ATL, all right? That's the Swats, the western part of the city. So this weekend in the Swats is going down. The new Tavern restaurant is opening at 5819 Campbellton Road in Atlanta, Georgia, the Swats once again. And I'm hosting the new grand opening. Yes. So thank you to Frederica out there, the owner. Man, we're doing big things this weekend. Algie Crumpler is going to come through. I'm going to interview him. Games, trivia, giveaways, food specials, drink specials. This weekend, the place to watch the Atlanta Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers is at the new Tavern restaurant, all right? 5819 Campbellton Road, ATL, Georgia. Come on through and holler at your boys. The entire staff's going to be there. Come meet the Tree of Life. Come meet the Waterhead Walter. Don't be alarmed when you see his head. Come on out and see CJ, the DJ, and we're going to have a lot of fun, man. And once again, Algie Crumpler is going to come out, eat some wings, drink some brew, have a couple cocktails, and watch the Falcons get this big win. Yes, get this big win over the Carolina Panthers. 404-382-0338. Great conversation with Sean King from Yahoo Sports in the last segment, in the last hour. That's the first time we've ever had a guy on for 2 segments in a row, but he was so good, we had to have him on for 2 segments. And we talked college football, talked pro football, and Ryan Mallett and Chicago Bears. And I never even looked at that whole conversation about the Bears in the terms that Sean King did. And he talked about those cats they all fat. You know, they are content. They don't have anything to strive for. They all getting paid. They all got big contracts. And so the desire there and the intangibles for Jay Cutler just aren't there as a leader and to motivate these guys, man. So it's a sinking ship in Chicago. And also, he talked about the Dallas Cowboys, and this is the big thing on the chat line, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. He says he thinks the Dallas Cowboys are for fake. Yes, he thinks they are for fake, that they got a lot of problems internally. Jerry Jones, whenever he's behind things, he's going to find a way to mess it up. They got issues on the defense. The defense is starting to show their true hand as far as being a defensive unit that doesn't have that great a talent. Starting to catch up with him a little bit. It's almost like Sean kind of inferred that it's almost been like smoke and mirrors, and that's going to catch up with him. And also, you always got to worry about DeMarco Murray. He's a guy that's been injury prone over the last couple of years. So that's not a good thing for Dallas Cowboy fans if you're listening to Sean King, a guy who studies this game. This is all he does is football, day in and day out. Even though this sapsucker was on the golf course on my show, that's okay. That's my people. It's okay. But, yeah, so some very interesting stuff talking to Sean King in the last hour. All right, 404-382-0338, 404-382-0338. Give me a call. Let's talk a little bit about your team this weekend. What do you expect from your team going forward? The matchup. What are your thoughts on this conversation we've been having about college football and about these playoff rankings? And I think a lot of it's going to play itself out. I definitely think that, and I continue to say that. But it's wrong. And I also get the feeling from Sean that he thinks that there's a bias against Florida State, in particular against Jameis Winston. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. In particular, Jameis Winston and some of the issues he's had off the field, which, once again, that shouldn't have anything to do with anything. It shouldn't. It shouldn't have anything to do with anything. It should all be about what happens on the field. And, yes, they've had some close games and are closer than you'd like, but they're still undefeated. They're undefeated, and like the great Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man, and nobody's beat Florida State. Let's not forget that. No one has beat these guys. As quarterback, no one's beat Jameis Winston. So I really want Jameis Winston and Florida State to continue to win, definitely make the playoff, but I wouldn't mind seeing them run the table. You know, I don't really got a dog in the fight right now. I guess on a national scene, I support Georgia. I support the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. I support Clemson and South Carolina, my home state teams. But those teams aren't going to vie for a national championship. So everybody remaining, I don't really got any ties to Mississippi State or Oregon, clearly not Oregon, or TCU or Alabama or Arizona State or none of those teams like that. So I kind of want to see Florida State run the table. I kind of want to see Jameis Winston shove it in the face of the haters and make it to another championship game and win another national championship. I do, because I want to see the haters, be mad. I do. And really, and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm looking at these teams, and Ohio State, Sean King says he's like Ohio State to make it to the Final Four. That was a little shock, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. That's a little shock. Yeah, they got to start to get a little bit more love. Only one loss, a horrible loss, but he thinks that Ohio State's going to make it into this Final Four. But yeah, looking at all these teams that have a realistic chance of making it to said Final Four, I would like to see Florida State do it. Yeah, I would. I would like to see Florida State do it. Jameis Winston, a lot of people are down on him, and a lot of it, let me back up for a second, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. A lot of it, once again, is his doing. It is his doing. But a lot of it, I think, is more being made of it than it should be. Like the whole thing of him jumping on the table and cussing, that was something that a college kid did around his peers, technically, where he didn't think any cameras were around, and by the word of mouth, by people talking about this and saying Jameis Winston jumped on his table, it got around and he got suspended for some games. He got suspended for a game. So I just think that was way overblown. Now, did he steal some crab legs? Yes, he did steal some crab legs. But it was crab legs. It wasn't a freaking diamond ring. and I don't know why he would do that. I don't know. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe somebody challenged him to do it or bet that he wouldn't do it. I don't know. It was dumb. It was stupid. He claims that it was just a mistake. I don't know what the real story is. But damn, they act like he broke into somebody's house and stole some jewelry. I don't know. So I'm kind of rooting for this guy. I mean, I'm kind of rooting for this guy. I like the villain a lot of times, okay? When I was growing up, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, when I was growing up, I always rooted for the teams that were quote-unquote the villain, okay? I rooted for the Raiders recently, started rooting for the Raiders recently. When I was growing up, I rooted for the Georgetown Hoyas. You saw the 30 for 30 on Georgetown. Everybody hated them. I rooted for the Miami Hurricanes because I always liked the villain. I always liked the guy that wore the black hat. And they weren't really villains, but they were perceived to be villains in the public's eye. And I don't like that. I mean, why are you mad at Georgetown? Why are you mad at Miami? Now, they talked a lot of trash. They talked a lot of smack. But they had what I call back then, before this term swagger started being thrown all around, the Miami Hurricanes had swagger. And I guess that's more so than what I like. I like swagger, I don't like idiots. I don't like bad people or bad guys. I like swagger and teams that back up what they talk smack about. That's what I like, okay? And America's got a problem with that. America's got a problem with Jameis Winston, a guy that's so boisterous, and he's doing all of these crazy things, but he's still a young man, and the kid's got swagger. America doesn't like Georgetown. The Georgetown Hoyas back in the day, not so much now. They don't really care because they're not that great of a team. But America didn't like the Georgetown Hoyas. I love them. I love John Thompson. I love the Hoyas. I love their roster. I love the way they played basketball. America didn't like UNLV for the most part. I loved UNLV. I absolutely love the running Rebels and that team that they had and Tarkanian and Grandmama and all of that. I love those guys. I always loved the villains. So to come full circle, I'm actually rooting for Florida State to go back to the national championship and win it all. And Jameis Winston to go out, and throw a smoke bomb. Poof, I'm out of here, bitches. Yes. I'm actually rooting for that. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I am actually rooting for that because clearly he's not going to play football again after this year. Okay? He's got a lot to do to try to mend his reputation, to go as high as he possibly can in the NFL draft. So that's a little storyline as well. I'm rooting for the young man. Small town USA, small town in Alabama. I have the same background, so I'm rooting for the underdog. I'm rooting for the underdog. Yes, I am. What are your thoughts on, I think I just had a rant, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't even really get to what I wanted to talk about. I just had a rant. Yes, that's what the hell I do. And I'm pretty sure when I look on my phone, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I'm sure when I look, yep, there it goes right there. There it goes right there. And that really wasn't a mad rant. I just had a rant, but there it goes right there. The wife. You need to chill out, man. Yes, the wife listens to the show, and whenever I start, going on a tirade and a rant, she always texts me and like, man, chill out. She just says, man, chill out, man. Wow. Yeah. All right. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. My man Scotty looked like he got some clarification on the whole crab leg incident. Hopefully I can read that when we get back from the break. And also when we get back from the break on the Doug Stewart Show, the funnest show on turf, Football Friday. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on the schedule this weekend for the Georgia Bulldogs, the Atlanta Falcons, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, your phone calls, your Spreaker chat, all of that. Don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Millionaires, are you listening to me? Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site. One-week fantasy means, listen to this, no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Got an injured player? No problem. At DraftKings.com, it's like a new season every week. So you never get stuck with the same team. Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash. That's right. This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000. That's crazy. And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com. You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day. Yes. You're not on a hot roof. You're not in a ditch. Just playing fantasy football at DraftKings.com. Listen, here's what you need to do. Get free entry into their $100,000 fantasy football contest this weekend, where first place takes home $10,000. Head to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code Spreaker to play for free. DraftKings.com. Bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker for free entry now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. Business owners, Advertise Unlimited is one of the few national flyer and door hanger distribution companies that service every market in the U.S., promoting your grand opening or special event, as well as creating brand recognition amongst the public. Here's what they do. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. The beauty is they outperform direct mail advertising, and your ad doesn't get lost in the mailbox. Now, isn't that what really matters? Boom! The most professional, reliable distribution teams in the business, and they also provide real-time proof of performance for all campaigns. An A rating with the Better Business Bureau, and were voted one of the fastest-growing companies in the U.S. by Inc. magazine. Advertise Unlimited has the capability to print and distribute up to 20,000 flyers or more for less than the price of a stamp. Use the promo code DSS and get an extra 10% discount on your initial campaign. So, give them a call at 1-866-369-9003. Again, that's 1-866-369-9003, or check out their website at goadvertiseunlimited.com and make your advertising dollars count. Yes!
The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com, and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes! This your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-file, prescription savings, and a fully encompassed prepaid legal benefit that includes identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedugstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. Man, we were a little bit late from the break. Okay, all right. Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce. Thank you for joining your folk. Really do appreciate it. You can email me at, damn, where the hell we get this music at, producers? It sounds kind of mysterious. Kind of sexy. Kind of strange. I like it, though. I like it. I like it. The mysterious Doug Stewart Show. All right. This is the Doug Stewart Show. You can email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. You can also call the show at 404-382-0338. Yes, don't forget this weekend, pass the word. Tell everybody you know. Come on through. Holla at your folk. Break bread. Yes, the grand opening of the new Tavern restaurant this weekend at 5819 Campbellton Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Me, my entire staff, the Tree of Life, Waterhead Walter, CJ the DJ, who else? Oh, yeah, and the great Algie Crumpler, former Pro Bowl tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, will be in the house as well. Food specials, drink specials, games, trivia, all of that type stuff as we watch the Atlanta Falcons. So come on through, pass the word this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant, 5819 Campbellton Road in ATL, Georgia. All right, and this segment is brought to you by Advertisers Unlimited. That's right. They deliver your printed ad or promotion to the front door of your targeted customer. That's right. 20,000 houses they can hit all at one time if you talk to these folks and have them promote your brand or your company or your product. And you know what they do, right? You ever come home and see the little door hanger things and they're promoting a company or something like that? and you pull it off and you look at it. I mean, you just look at it for a second. I mean, that's better than you try to email them and they delete it, or you send real mail and they chunk it in the trash like I do a lot of times. So check out my folks at advertisersunlimited.com, okay? That's goadvertiseunlimited.com, and their phone number is 866-369-9003. If you're a company out there listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and man, I mean, A rating by the Better Business Bureau, they're doing big things, so check them out at goadvertiseunlimited.com. Let me read a couple of these messages here before we talk a little bit of Falcons and Georgia Tech here. From Jungle Brother, he says, I disagree with you, Doug. This witch hunt on Jameis is not self-made. So I guess he's saying, echoing on my comments in the last segment where I guess it was a mini tirade, and saying that a lot of this stuff, Jameis Winston isn't actually creating the problems for himself. There is somewhat of a witch hunt. That's from Jungle Brother. He says, Scotty, the word is down here is that particular Publix is frequently hooking up Florida State players because the manager is an alum. An off-duty cop saw Jameis walk out of the store with the crab legs. It's just so bad. You know what? It's actually kind of good that it was crab legs and nothing of real substance, like, for example, cash. Or, I don't know what else you could be, some type of product, some type of clothing or something from the store. Because you say to yourself, clearly, nobody ain't trying to steal crab legs. So you kind of get like a funny thought when you think about that, in my opinion. And he says, an off-duty cop saw Jameis walk out of the store with the crab legs, confronted him, then called an on-duty officer, and the rest is history. I've heard that story before, and you know it's probably something more to the story, and you know how it is if you went to college, and you know how it is in a college town like Florida State, Tallahassee. I mean, those kids are pretty much like gods down there, and that's probably wrong, but yeah, they used to getting away with stuff, and they used to getting hookups. I mean, I'm just like any other brother. I love a good hookup. I remember when I was in high school and you listened to the Doug Stewart Show. I remember when we was in high school, and it's funny. If you remember Friday, when Pops was waking up and he was having this dream about going through some type of drive-in, and he was like, yeah, and give me as much fries as you can give me. like who listening to this show in high school didn't go through the drive-thru, and their partner was working in the drive-thru, and they hooked you up with an extra amount of fries? I mean, come on, man. That's pretty much what this is. The crab legs was extra fries. And it just went awry. Yes, it did, clearly. And I'm not trying to minimize it, but I am trying to minimize it. I mean, it's freaking crab legs. It's embarrassing more so than anything else. The guy stole some freaking crab legs, and then there was a million memes or memes, or however you say that word, posted all over the social networks, and it was funny, and this, that, and the other, and it was embarrassing. It was more so embarrassing to Jameis Winston than anything else. But ask yourself the question, did you not get the hookup on fries? Seriously, did you not get the hookup on fries? The problem was, or the difference is you aren't Jameis Winston. From Jungle Brother, he says, that rant was preaching to the choir, Doug. I was in your amen corner with the U, Georgetown, and UNLV. Yeah, if you're just joining me, hopefully you're just not just joining me. You've been listening to the show since 11 a.m. Eastern time. I went on a little rant in the last segment about how I root for teams that America, quote unquote, doesn't root for. Okay? I do. I've always done that. I've always been the rebel in my thinking. I respect Al Davis, and I love Tarkanian at the UNLV and those teams that they had. I'm always, going against the grain. Always going against the grain. And that's why I think that this show gets a lot of love and respect, because there's a lot of people out there that have the same sentiment about some of these sports topics, but you never hear it because the puppet factory is controlling everybody. Yeah, and so the same drab opinion that you hear from one guy on the puppet factory, you usually hear it from another guy, and guys like the Two Live Stews, we piss somebody off at some point, and then they don't give us a new contract. I'm sorry, it's kind of reflected and digressed. My bad. But you know what I mean. Yes, but there's a lot of people out there that love those UNLV teams and those Georgetown teams and John Thompson and Jerry Tarkanian and Al Davis and the Raiders and, the freaks, Raider fans out there. Yes, there's a lot of people out there like that, man. And thus, you have the Doug Stewart Show. From KC, he says, Scotty is correct. All of my connects back at FSU say the crab legs incident was just a hookup gone bad. Yes. And I always had it in my mind. And going back to that hookup of fries when I was in high school, if the gig was up and a manager walked in on my friend in the drive-thru and realized what was going on, we were going to punch it. You knew that. That was part of the game. Okay? Yes, that was part of the game. We weren't going to all go down for you hooking us up with fries. You handle that. Okay, and it's just fries. It's not a felony or nothing like that. So, yeah, if the manager ever walked in and you was hooking us up with some extra fries, just know that me and whoever was in the car with me getting said hookup, we were going to punch it. and maybe that's a country term. You're not from the country. We were going to hit the gas. Okay, we were out of that place. We were gone. Yes, you probably would have got suspended, maybe fired, maybe they even would have called the police on you, okay? But we were going to punch it. No need for everybody to get around. That's the hookup game. Like Eddie Murphy said, it's the fart game, it's the hookup game. Everybody ain't going to go down. Everybody not going to go down. No. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your boy. I really do appreciate it. Man, look, once again, the damn... where are these segments going? We having too much fun on a Football Friday. My Lord. Yes. All right, I promise when we get back from the break, we're going to touch upon the Falcons. All right? I mean, you're entertained, right? Sometimes I get up on these little tangents and these tirades and, all of that stuff. And all of those things that start with T. But it's entertaining, right? We're still talking about sports. Still talking about what you want to talk about. Come on, man. We all got the hookup. I mean, brothers love the hookup. Ain't no harm in a hookup. There's just no harm in a hookup. A hookup gone bad for Jameis Winston. Maybe I'll rename today's show that. All right. Up next on the Doug Stewart Show, I want to talk a little bit about Derrick Rose. Some new talk about him. And Adam Silver in the NBA, man. He made some very interesting comments about wagering. Don't go away. Sports Talk with Hot Sauce. Texas Pete Hot Sauce. This is the Doug Stewart Show.
I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house. Calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, I know you better not be talking long distance running up my bill with that little hussy girl. Well, get with the times with the long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedougstewartshow.com or the link on the thedougstewartshow.com app. Try out Univon and call your peoples like you not at your mama house. All right, I know the deal. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it, and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one source, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on the link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details. The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor, Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your folk. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes!
Yes, the realest, treeless sports talk show in America, where we welcome the hookup. Yes, we do. I gotta keep it real. If you could hook me up right now, I'm gonna probably take it. It's not the right message to send to my children, but I'm 45 years old, and if I go in a pub, a bar, or some type of saloon, and you offer me a free drink, I'm gonna take it. So I'm not that much better than Jameis Winston. I'm not. I just gotta keep it real. You are listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. If you're just joining us, man, I've had a couple of rants today, man. Inadvertent rants. Yeah. I'm rooting for the Florida State Seminoles at this point to win the national championship, man, because I'm rooting for Jameis Winston. Yes, he's stepped in some doo-doo this year. The last couple of years he has, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody's trying to make it seem. I just don't think so. 404-382-0338, 404-382-0338. This is the Doug Stewart Show, the funnest show on turf. You can email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. If you're a company out there and you'd like to partner with us, I mean, we real around here. I mean, we are. We have some long-term and short-term promotion. We have the new Doug Stewart pages. Yes, the Doug Stewart business pages. I'm sorry, the Doug Stewart business pages. So we're doing, if you got a little small event, something you want to promote coming up, like in a day or two, and you want the word to get out, not only will you get a spot on the Doug Stewart website, on the business pages, but I'll also give you some mentions live throughout the show, okay? And so with people listening live and the podcast, it's a great value. It's a great value. So if you're interested in partnering with the Doug Stewart Show, short-term or long-term, email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com, all right? And don't forget, this weekend is going down. Pass the word. Come on through and holler at your folk. Drink one with me. Drink one with me. Drink one with me. Get it out at the new Tavern restaurant opening up this weekend. The grand opening is going down. 5819 Campbellton Road in ATL, Georgia. And, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to watch the Falcons. 1 o'clock kickoff against the Carolina Panthers. So it's Matt Ryan versus Cam Newton. Actually, this Tavern restaurant is like a stone's throw from where Cam Newton grew up. Okay, he went to Westlake High School. So Westlake is right in that area, probably within 2 minutes of this Tavern restaurant. So that's going to be an interesting little vibe. So there's probably going to be a lot of people that rooted for Cam Newton in high school, in said bar, in the Tavern restaurant this weekend. So come on through. It's going to be a lot of fun. Algie Crumpler's coming through. I'm going to interview him, as well as drink specials, food specials. Their catfish strips are off the chain. Yes, they are. Yeah, me and the Tree of Life went over there the other day, and she had them, and, man, just off the chain. So come on through. A lot of fun this weekend at the Tavern restaurant. Let me mention this very quickly, a couple of things. First of all, congratulations to Mike Trout. Yes, outfielder for the Anaheim Angels. He was named the unanimous 2014 American League MVP on Thursday night. He finished second in the voting for his first 2 seasons, losing to Miguel Cabrera as well. But this year, unanimous MVP for Mike Trout. So Ball Award goes to him. It's not even Monday, but he gets a Ball Award. And also, man, Clayton Kershaw wins the MVP as well in the National League. Wow. So he wins the Cy Young and the MVP. So Baller Award goes to Clayton Kershaw as well. Also, if you haven't heard, Derrick Rose is in the news. And this guy, Derrick Rose, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Last night, dude pulled his hamstring in their 100-93 win over the Toronto Raptors. Kind of tweaked it. He's saying it's not serious. They're going to have it reevaluated, and we'll see. But my gosh, I mean, how much is it is psychological now with Derrick Rose, and how much of it is physical? Because, okay, so I told you guys before, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I really learned a lot about my body over the last couple of years. I run competitive track, master's track for old people, I guess you call it. And so I work out with these trainers, and I work out with these track guys that have been running track their entire lives. And something that they always talk about, and that's very true, I'm finding out, is that your body has to be in balance. And what that means simply is if one leg is stronger than the other, you're probably going to hurt something because you're overcompensating in another part of your body. So when you do your workouts and your reps, you want to try to do the same reps with each body part and be able to do the same amount of weight for each body part, the same amount of reps, okay? Because you want, if you can, squat 400 pounds, you need to do one-legged squats on each leg, the same amount of pounds, so that they're balanced. And evidently, Derrick Rose's body isn't balanced, man. I mean, every other day, like I look to watch a Chicago Bulls game and Derrick Rose come up lame. Yes, and it's sad. And I saw the comments made by Joakim Noah, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and you saw when Joakim was on the sideline last night in the game, and he was basically talking to Derrick Rose, trying to keep his spirits up, because right now, psychologically, Derrick Rose is screwed up. I mean, he probably thinks that he's done, okay? And anytime he goes out in the court, he's going to get hurt. So Joakim was trying to keep his spirits up and talking to him, and it looked like D. Rose was going to cry over there, okay? But after the game, Joakim Noah made these comments to the effect that people need to get off of his back because he wants to play and he always gives 100%. People aren't mad at Derrick Rose, in my opinion. I know I'm not. People aren't mad at this guy because he keeps getting hurt. Okay, we find it kind of weird, and we feel bad for the guy. But the issue people have with Derrick Rose is from the comments that he made recently, saying that he's worried about life after basketball. That's the only issue I think. I don't think people, especially people that have played sports, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I don't think anybody's mad that he continues to get hurt. It's very interesting, but injuries are injuries. They're accidents. So I think Joakim Noah was a little bit off base on that conversation talking about Derrick Rose. I think people, if they have any issue with Derrick Rose, it's that he is worrying about life after basketball and being hurt and not being able to be 100% Derrick Rose. Not injured, being hurt. I think that's the issue. And also, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants the United States of America to get with the times in regard to sports betting. In an op-ed posted Thursday on the New York Times website, Silver pointed to Europe's legal sports betting market and wrote that Congress should adopt a federal framework that allows states to authorize betting on professional sports, subject to strict regulatory requirements and technological safeguards. And this is one thing that's going to happen again. Just like marijuana is going to be legalized in this country across the board. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Sports betting across the board is going to happen in this country. And it's shocking to me that it hadn't already happened, because just like prohibition with alcohol, when the government figures out, the states figure out a way they can make money from it, they will regulate it. It's underground. But, I mean, once the government figures out a way to make money from it, and once they figure out that them prohibiting it is not going to stop it from happening, they're going to try to get their piece. Like our agent used to say. He used to say it all the time. Just give us a taste. And right now, when the government figures out, because it's coming, it's on the way, when the government figures out a way to make money from gambling and do it in a way that they can keep track of it and then if your ass don't pay said tax, you're going to jail, it's going to be okay. And New Jersey tried to get this thing passed through on the state level a while back, and all of the leagues came together and, voiced their opinions against it, which is funny now that Adam Silver, the guy that runs basketball, is saying that we should figure out a way to do it. This just happened a couple of months ago, in the state of New Jersey. So very interesting. And once again, I'm a guy that's wagered. Once again, also, it's hard for me to be a hypocrite because I love a nice hookup, and I also love a nice wager. I do. I don't wager like I used to back in the day. I may have had a problem. I don't know. I never saw any professional about it. I don't know. But, gambling's going to happen. Gambling is going to happen. You're not going to stop it. It's crazy that in 2014, the new commissioner of the NBA feels like that we should go ahead and do that. It is very strange to me. I don't know what the politics are behind that. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and why in 2014 Adam Silver has been so boisterous and came up with such a strong statement about gambling. I don't know why now as opposed to last year, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, but it's very interesting to me that he comes out with these thoughts on gambling. This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you for joining your folk. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to read some of this chat. We got a lot of chat from Scott. He says, Derrick Rose really is a hoe. At least act like you want to come back in the game. He couldn't get his warm-up shirt on fast enough. He's a hoe. I'm not going to call the man out of his name. I could, but I'm not. Scotty said it. From Juan Cruz says, shoot, I have a list of places I get the hookup, bars, stores, etc. I guess I could look down. I guess I can't look down at Winston, laughing my ass off. Yeah. Come on, man. Who don't love a good hookup? This is America, Jack. In America, we love the hookup. I know I do. And all my friends, man. McDonald's fries? Come on, man. You know how big that is as a 16-year-old to get an extra box of fries from McDonald's? You know how huge that is for a kid that don't have any money, really? And you hungry? Because then, back during that time, you were always hungry. Because you were playing sports, and so you leave practice, and you run through the drive-thru at McDonald's, and your friend gives you an extra box of large fries. That is huge. The only thing better than crab legs is free crab legs. That's from Fred. You're exactly right. All right, don't go away. Sports Talk with Hot Sauce. Texas Pete Hot Sauce. We'll come back. We'll wrap up today's show and, do the damn thing on this Football Friday on the Doug Stewart Show.
The Doug Stewart Show is off and running, but just like every company, we need sponsors. Would yours like to work with one of the livest, most dynamic, and recognized sports talk show personalities in America? By the way, that's me. Getting in on the ground floor? Well, call us at 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com and let's do business. From the smallest company in Atlanta to the biggest brands nationally and worldwide, shawty. People know me and the Stews brand in these streets. Holla at your boat. Once again, the number is 770-847-0536 or email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Yes! I'm always saying get with the times. Stop acting like you at your mama house, calling that girl you met at summer camp 2 states away, and your mama screaming out, I know you better not be talking long distance on that phone, running up my bill with that old hussy. Well, get with the times with your long distance charges. Presenting Univon. Univon offers unlimited worldwide calling to 60 plus countries for $14.99 a month. No contract, no activation fee, and no cancellation fee. Users can call anytime using their mobile phone or home IP phone. So stop flushing money down the drain. Get more details by clicking Univon's link banner on thedugstewartshow.com or the link on the DougStewartShow.com app. Try out Univon and call your people like you not at your mama house. You've been thinking about starting that online store, right? And you do know e-commerce makes billions a year. That's right, billions with a B. Well, just do it and do it right with my friends at AmeriCommerce. AmeriCommerce is an easy-to-use tool you to sell anything online, on Facebook, and through mobile phones. Over 100,000 merchants and website owners have chosen AmeriCommerce to handle their stores and customers. They have the most in-depth features in the industry, which include multiple storefronts, website management from one console, a Facebook shopping application, a mobile-optimized website, and much, much more. Don't let eBay, Amazon, and Zappos get all the money. Get your piece of the pie, too. Click on their link on thedougstewartshow.com or the app link for details.
Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. Yes, 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 yes. Hope you got a big weekend planned. And I hope it includes coming to hang out with me and the staff of the Doug Stewart Show this weekend at the Tavern Restaurant this Sunday. Yes, yes, we are going to be watching the Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers. It's a football viewing party. The grand opening of the new Tavern Restaurant at 5819 Campbellton Road, ATL, Georgia. So come on through. Me, the Tree of Life, Walter, CJ, the DJ, and also Atlanta Falcon Pro Bowler, one-time Pro Bowler, Algie Crumpler is going to be in the house. Yes. So come on through. Holla at your folk. If you can't come through, pass the word. If you know anybody who lives in the SWATs area, have them to come through. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do some games, trivia, watching the game once again, obviously, rooting for the Falcons, food specials, drink specials, all of that type stuff is going down this weekend at the grand opening, hosted by me, Doug Stewart, and the Doug Stewart Show at the Tavern Restaurant at 5819 Campbellton Road in ATL, Georgia. Quickly, I want to mention, man, there's some historically bad teams in the NBA, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and this segment is brought to you by DraftKings. That's right. One-day DraftKings fantasy duels on DraftKings, so check them out on thedougstewartshow.com. Click on their banner link, create an account, and I've got the Doug Stewart Fantasy Challenge going on this week on DraftKings.com. Just search, when you get on the website, the Doug Stewart Show Weekly Challenge, all right? And we'll announce the winners next week on that on the Doug Stewart Show on Tuesday from the games this Sunday. There's some real bad teams in the NBA this year, none worse than the Philadelphia 76ers. The Dallas Mavericks just destroyed Philadelphia last night, 123-70. The 53-point margin for Dallas surpassed its 50-point win over the New York Knicks in January 2010. At 0-8, Philadelphia is the only NBA team without a victory. The only time the 76ers have gone deep into a season without winning a game was in 1972-73 when they lost their first 15 games according to stats. So, wow. And if you grew up in the 70s like me, you were used to the Philadelphia 76ers being one of the marquee teams in basketball, even through the Allen Iverson years. Still a marquee team. I mean, you're talking Dr. J, Moses Malone, Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler. I mean, Caldwell Jones. I mean, the Philadelphia 76ers is a marquee franchise in the league. But right now, they suck. And I mean, their team is just bad. And I mean, I guess they're kind of, relying on some of the young talent and this Noel kid, and some young people. They got the first pick in the draft this year, for this team as well, the kid out of Kansas. And so, but right now, I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I don't see any light. Joel Embiid, that's his name. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. You got some dude named Henry Sims that's playing for him, and Tony Roten and Hollis Thompson. These guys are starting. These guys are third-string players at best on most good NBA teams. And they're 0-8. And I mean, Philadelphia might not win a game this year. They might set a record. We always talk every year, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Every year there's a conversation, like right now, what you got with the Raiders. Will they go undefeated? You remember a couple of years ago, the Detroit Lions, they went defeated. went 0-16. So it's possible in football. It's rare. It's only happened one other time. People are talking about, maybe the Raiders go 0-16 this year. But that's football. That's the conversation for football. I'm asking this question. Could the Philadelphia 76ers and all of its glory and all of its tradition and legacy, the Spectrum, Julius Erving, you remember that? Could the Philadelphia 76ers go 0-82? Huh? I mean, is it possible? They don't have a team. And we talked to Ike Reese yesterday, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. We talked to Ike Reese yesterday, and, he mentioned how they've been rebuilding for the last 10 years, pretty much since Allen Iverson was shipped out of there. They just been bad. But, I'm looking at this depth chart, and their roster, they don't got no players. They don't. And I mean, it's a long season, so yeah, they should win a game, but getting beat by 53 points and looking at this roster and this depth chart, no, I don't see them winning a game. 0-82, and the Lakers are bad. Okay, I know, yeah, Doug, you're throwing the 76ers under the bus, but the Lakers are just as bad. No, the Lakers already got their win. So they already got that albatross off their neck. They do, all right? But, I mean, you might think I'm being facetious and I'm joking, but the 76ers don't have a team. Like Henry Sims, who was that? Luke Richard Mbah Mute. I remember that kid. I mean, I've seen him. He's been like a journeyman guy. He's played in the league for a couple of years. Hollis Thompson, Tony Roten, all of these guys, to me, I've seen all of these guys play. All of these guys, to me, are third stringers. Yeah, and 10-day contract guys. Yes, they are. So Nerlens Noel is, I guess, the bright spot, but he's young, just coming off a knee injury. It's going to be a long year for 76ers fans. My gosh. Wow. Hey, look, they don't have a team. And I didn't realize it was this bad. And, in the offseason and the summer camps and, this team's going to be bad. This is probably going to be one of the worst teams in basketball. They're going to be at the bottom of the Atlantic Division that they're in. But, I mean, looking at their record and you get beat by 53 and looking at their depth chart and, the Joel Embiid kid's not going to come back probably this year at all. He might come back later on in the year from the injury he sustained, but he might not even play this year. And they suck. They suck. They may go 0-82. Yes, they may go 0-82. All right. Wow. I mean, I didn't even mean to spend that much time on it, but damn, they might go 0-82. I mean, I think it's possible. You would think a team might have a bad night, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. One of their opponents may have a bad night, but even if their opponents have a bad night, they still should be able to beat the 76ers. They don't have no players. They don't have any players. Yeah. All right, so don't forget this weekend, man, the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Carolina Panthers. They need to get this win if they want to keep any semblance of a chance to having to win this crazy Wild Wild West NFC South wild card. Okay, they got to get this win this weekend against the Carolina Panthers. So we're going to be watching that game this weekend at the new tavern, the grand opening this weekend. I'm hosting. Algie Crumpler's going to be in the house. Falcon royalty, he's going to be in the house, eating wings, drinking beer, and having a good time. So come on through, pass the word. My whole staff's going to be there. So we're going to be watching Falcons and Panthers this weekend at the brand new, opening up this weekend, the grand opening of the Tavern Restaurant. That's, the Tavern, they're in the J.R. Cricket family. But this is like the upper echelon J.R. Crickets when it's the Tavern. So come on through 5819 Campbellton Road this weekend in ATL, Georgia. And also this weekend, the Georgia Bulldogs take on the Auburn Tigers, 7-2 versus 7-2 in Athens. Nick Marshall coming back to town where he played for the Georgia Bulldogs, played defensive back, went on to do suspended or released from the team and went on to junior college, I think he did. Yeah, junior college, and played quarterback, and now he's playing quarterback for Auburn, so he's coming back. So that's always interesting. So you got Auburn and Georgia in a big matchup this weekend in Athens, and also the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 8-2, taking on 7-2 Clemson Tigers this weekend at Bobby Dodd Stadium. A lot on the line for these teams in the divisions. Georgia Tech trying to, and Clemson, and both teams trying to win that Coastal Division and getting into the ACC Championship. So we're going to keep our eyes on that as well. And football all weekend long. Yes, all weekend long. And, man, can't wait. A lot of big matchups, a lot of pivotal games in the NFL. I spoke about it a little bit earlier. The top matchups this weekend in the league are the Eagles taking on the Packers. I think most of us could agree on this. The Eagles taking on the Packers, the Lions taking on the Cardinals, and then the nice one on 8:30 Sunday night on NBC. Patriots taking on the Colts. So that's going to be huge on Sunday night. Yes, I got one question for you. Are you not entertained? Yes. Oh, man, damn it. I mean, we're going to probably have to go to 3 hours because we having too much fun for 2 hours. We got to spread the fun out to 3 hours at some point very soon. Yes. And then at that point, doctor, I'm going to need a throatiotomy to talk to myself for 3 hours. But guess what? I'm a pro. I am a pro. Yes. Me, my studio audience, my staff. I mean, hell, we got this. We got this, shouty. Yes. Show sounding fantastic. We doing big things. We working with sponsors. We hosting grand openings. I mean, what else? I mean, damn it. Yes. Maybe we'll add another hour. The coup de grace. How do you say that word? The coup de grace. Yes, that's that word. Yeah. We're going to do it all right? Continue to pass the word. Tell at least one person. Do me a favor. Tell one person today when you log off this show. And tell one person about the livest, the most interactive, the most fun show on radio and online, The Doug Stewart Show. All right? Tell one person. That's all I ask. I would appreciate it, okay? I would greatly appreciate it. Tell one person. All right? One person. This is The Doug Stewart Show. Thank you to everybody that helped make today's show possible. The Tree of Life, thank you so much, Tree, for all that you do. The studio audience agrees. Thank you to Waterhead Walter, CJ the DJ. Thank you guys for all that you do. I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to my man, Gerald Olivari, as well as Dwayne Bassan. Yes! They really make this thing go. They really make it go. And a special shout out to all of the dogs and the poodles, a.k.a. the listeners, the Stewies. Yes, let's call you the... Yes, I like that. The Stewies. Somebody posted that earlier and called the listeners to this show the Stewies. Shouts out to all of the Stewies listening to the show. Pass the word. Yes. Make sure you go to my Twitter account and retweet today's fortune and lucky numbers, all right? We'll do it again Monday. Same Doug time, same Doug channel. I'll see you Sunday at the tavern, all right? The Doug Stewart Show. Peace.